Hello, friends. Good to be here.
Yeah.
Good to be here. Yes.
So nice.
I think many things to talk about for the three of us.
Yeah?
Indeed.
Yeah. Maybe just, how do you feel about being in Ukraine?
Yeah, we've been here for a week now.
Yeah, almost a week, yeah.
It's been a ride.
I think so
I
as
think
well.
really very, I don't know, very intense, but also very confronting in many levels, actually.
In what
But
sense
also
do you think?
I mean, I don't know, and so many loving people, and yeah, you could continue with all those things, but yeah, in confronting, I don't know, or somehow I've been thinking, okay, we've had all these, we've met so many people, been talking about art, talking about how it is to live as an artist. Of course, financial aspects comes into that, but also the talks about so many spaces closing down, partly because of the COVID and the difficulties in making it run due to money issues, but also this thing we visited, the Soshenko 33, where they were really fighting to keep the place because big real estate investors wanted to build buildings that this gentrification thing. And I just been thinking that it's somehow, I don't know if you agree, that it's like in Copenhagen, I don't know, it seems like gentrification is really part of a scheme, and you as an artist, like, if you get a space, you know that in 10 years you will no longer have it, and the place will have gone up in value. And here it seems like it has a different tempo and a different, I don't know, I feel it's that people here are more aware of avoiding that scheme to be implemented. And I don't know if I'm making...
No, I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense.
That I mean, I feel we're too young to be able to fight the big battle against gentrification in Copenhagen right now. We can just play the game of gentrification. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just making use of it. And
but
here I feel it actually can fight off, or like that they're really trying to insist on keeping something.
But that's also a question, where are we in that scheme? Are we then, what are we here?
Yeah.
I feel at level, I feel like...
I think it's very hard to pinpoint in just 1 week's experience, even though we've been here before some years ago. But the first thing, of course, appears is like your first very strong impressions about the city, right? My personal experience is like, it seems like the underground scene is just very well connected. Not only as underground, but also the artists and underground scene is kind of collaborating in a very profound way. While in Copenhagen, things are a bit more niche, generally.
I really agree. Yeah. Like, for instance, when we had our picnic, and you saw that so many people were together, crossing ages, scenes, you would not see that in Copenhagen.
No. Yeah, but also I think in there, not only as a group, but also when you look at how the city as a landscape, also the city as a occupied territory by humankind, let's say, is like, for example, the hill that we were on was very wild in a way, which for example, in Denmark, it's very hard to find a spot like that is kind of preserved.
I mean, imagine
that way in a way, like.
But this is the thing that I think makes me so happy being here, that some things seemed unplanned.
Exactly.
I'm getting crazy in Copenhagen for everything having an intention.
That's what I mean by
I'm not in a space that is not intended for me to have a cup of coffee.
No, exactly.
Or like that it is intended for me to have a cup of coffee in a certain way. So
but maybe it is
really
also
surrounding.
Maybe it is also a bit about the like when we talk about capitalism and like art market, let's say, right? Like for example, in Copenhagen, there is like entrepreneurism is not it's a phenomena, not only in the business as a market, but it also, like, there are a lot of entrepreneurial, how do you say, tendencies in the art market too. I mean, in fashion, in art, or in how do you say, like, even like in public institutions, I would say, that kind of shapes the city in a very, how do you say, in a very programmed way. While in here, I feel like maybe that phenomenon of entrepreneurship has not emerged in the same way, and that's one of the difference that I kind of.
I think that's what I mean with the scheme in Copenhagen. I feel that in Copenhagen, also the entrepreneurship you talk about in Copenhagen, it's so programmed and it's so like calculating in a way.
Yeah.
And the same with the thing, every time you go, you're in a space that is programmed for what you're using it for, and that you know that when you get like we opened Arkway, the exhibition space, that is also, oh, we got this amazing space, but you also know that you are part of a scheme that is which goal it is to make this area more expensive to live in and more like luxury in a way. So you know that you're playing a part in that, and you're making use of it because that's the only way you can actually afford to have that place.
Yeah.
But there is no way that you can reverse the way things are moving.
Definitely. It's so warm in
here. I'm also thinking like this historical political perspective. Like for example, in here we know like in the recent history there's been like the two major events happen, and that has a kind of a very large effect on like how things kind of being reorganized, not only in terms of culture, but also how they appear.
But
right?
But this is the thing, like we come here and we're so confused all the time, like in a way, and that's maybe also what feels so good, like that everything is just like trying to figure out what is things, and then this constant feeling of not understanding, and then feeling I understand this part of architecture, I understand that this hill. I know what this hill is. Or I have an idea, and if it's like
mountain, right?
Yeah, exactly. I understand the history now, but this feeling of never understanding the history completely.
Yeah.
Being very confused all the time.
Yeah.
Which also adds to this feels of unplannedness.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand myself completely.
Yeah.
In the setting, and that feels
and
nice in a way.
Staying in the present with what you encounter in the moment.
Yeah.
Which also takes you. Unplanned.
Exactly.
Yeah, the thing of not running on a schedule in a way.
Yeah.
But Johanna, how do you feel yourself in there? Because like I feel like you live in a very planned structure from a country, but you almost have like a dissident character against this kind of a very planned nature of the how do you say Danish culture? Let's say. While you're in here, like there's a completely different. I mean, I'm asking you because I know you a little bit.
Yeah.
I hope I know
just
you a
need
little
to
bit.
understand the question.
Just like how do you deal, like how do you find it? Like is it more charming for you to just like
so
be a bit more free?
I love it. I'm sick of Copenhagen in many ways because it has this plannedness to itself. Really.
Yeah.
So I feel so free. I feel nice to be a bit confused all the time.
Yeah.
Not understanding everything.
Do you think also part of it being, I don't know, but we don't have data when we are outside of this.
Yeah.
When we don't have Wi-Fi, we're not connected really. So that is also an extra layer of being completely like, whatever we'll just see. Like last night when we lost.
I agree. And I feel much more free, but I also think it's a feeling of being confused in a way.
Yeah, but also of being not, totally entangled. Like when you when you arrive in a new place.
Yes.
You don't have the same, what is it called, obligations as you do when you're home. I mean, of course it's not only that, but there's also a level of being this thing of freshness.
Of course, so much.
But I mean, of course, like we talk also about like profound different cultural backgrounds and like what kind of effects it has.
Yeah,
like,
and can we say about them, how we understand. That's why I think this confusion is good for me to turn back to, or like it's not penetrating things to understand them, because what is my position and everything. But I do feel some things immediately feel good.
Yeah.
Like for instance, this vibe that we experience all the time.
I mean, of course, that is, sorry.
I think also one thing is just like, we've been this thing of we've been around many places and so on, but it seems like people are so it's so easy to get in touch. You know what I mean? It feels easy. Like
sure.
You call someone, or like someone calls someone for us, and then we make an agreement.
Yes, but I agree.
But I would like to actually pivot a little bit from our personal experiences to maybe like more like what kind of generalities, like general subjects that we can kind of pull out, right? Like, it's because we talk about how this difference kind of affects us, like as like how it surprises us as individuals, right?
Yeah.
But there are also some similarities that kind of appears as like similarities of problematics.
Yeah.
I mean, just meeting so many artists that are kind of have their own struggles, let's say, right? Like not to be only an artist, but also kind of taking some sort of role as to take some risks, basically to be what they are in a way, basically. It's almost like existential
but also, do you mean
question, right?
to insist on?
But what I mean, like for example, we went and we visited Hashi.
Yeah.
We visited. I mean, it seems like that space has such a kind of such an important role in terms of how kind of underground kind of organizes itself. Not as only, I'm not talking about like the roles of an artist or something, but more like how as an organizer you can kind of deal with a community. Like make a party that kind of is inclusive to some marginalities that you might find yourself in, right? I mean, this is basically what I'm talking about. Like, I mean, there's some sort of a, it's almost like in your face in some ways that you see the reality, like how it kind of appears. Is it your place or not?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to do something in here or not?
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, this
But
things
this
that we
goes back,
share in a way.
Yeah, exactly. But this goes back to the confusion again, because then it's always a reflection of, but why? What am I in this thing? You know?
Yeah.
What do I feel connected to? Multiple things.
Yeah.
But as a foreigner as a foreigner arriving here.
Yeah, as a foreigner trying to understand what we're surrounded by and that what we want to engage with and
totally.
hear people's stories or hear people's positions.
And that, but at the same time, and I don't know if I'm now connecting this, but it's this thing of both that even though we're Danish, Turkish, and then we're here in a Ukrainian context, it's also that we're all artists and we're meeting artists, and I think that is also.
I'm actually Kurdish.
Sorry, Kurdish.
No,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Good to get that. Yeah, that we're also meeting artists, and that it's that's also kind of a way of being in the world that has so many similarities, no matter where you are and what context you're in. So the thing of immediate sharing, also in terms of, I guess, I feel that we've met many people that we share a lot with in terms of way of living, beliefs, this thing of including, like creating including space, and also wanting to share and connect in a way because of mutual interests. Also in a world like, also in this world that is different, but also that has a lot of similarities as well, and there's like community. I don't know. There's a lot of unifying also going on.
Yeah. Maybe institutions also have like different role in there, right? Because I feel like institutions kind of organize themselves. Like, I mean, it seems like there are a lot of private initiatives in Kiev, but somehow like in Denmark it's more like publicly run, either like in funding scale or like how institutions kind of appear. But yeah, it seems like there are a lot of connections like within these places.
But that's just feeling like that is what we're gonna dig into in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
From being more.
Yeah.
This is like a little taste. Being here 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And then we're digging into the bigger thing soon.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, when we get back, continuing. I hope also we can bring more from Denmark. I mean,
think we can.
Of community. I think communities is such a great thing.
Community building. Yeah. What we're doing is
community building.
Communities across borders.
Yeah.
Let's just be the.
I mean, yesterday. But yesterday we had that experience. Like we went to a club that was like there was so much affiliation towards Berghain, which is kind of. I mean, of course, it's an iconic place, Berghain, but also like having this kind of I mean, we talk about Europe as a kind of a castrated space in a way, like. But then there are this kind of relationships kind of happening, even when you have like a situation like COVID. I mean, of course, it's not, unfortunately, both-sided, which is like the violence that is kind of hidden inside, but still communities kind of can deal to organize, to happen.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And they can transcend these sort of, how do you say, like immediate borders. Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
But also, cross borders and ages and. Yeah, like we talked about, the picnic was very
yeah. I mean, that picnic was an epic experience, I think.
Me too.
It was dark, we didn't have so much light, but it was like everyone was having a good time.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was very...
We should do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For...
See you in the couches in half a year.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.